Hi, folks. It's Marvin Music with MedicareSchool.com, and we want to welcome you to this evening's event. We are tonight going to look at a Medicare topic that I hope will be helpful for you, and then probably speak for less than 10 minutes, and then we're going to start taking your questions. And so feel free to start putting your questions in the chat. Our producer will then give those to me at the appropriate time. We always ask that you make your questions clear, not so abbreviated where we can't understand how we can help you. So be sure to be thorough in that, and then we'll take as many questions as we can tonight. I usually wear out after about an hour and a half, so if we have that questions that long, I'm happy to stay on. Anything about Medicare, anything about Social Security that you would like to ask, I will try to address, and hopefully we'll be able to answer. Every now and then I get a question that I'm not able to answer, but I think we should be able to cover most of your concerns, topics, questions that you have this evening. You will see an 800 number throughout this event. As a reminder, if you need immediate assistance, we are brokers, so our switchboard is actually open tonight until 7 p.m. So if you do need something quickly, feel free to call in. Any agent that you'll be transferred to will be an agent that I know personally, that I have personally trained, spent a lot of time with to make sure that they're very adequate in advising you what you need to do. So keep that in mind. And just two more things, and I'm going to get started. If you're not a part of our Facebook group, please join. We'd love to have you be a part of that. And if you're not yet a subscriber to our YouTube channel, we have a great YouTube channel where you can learn, and we normally do 2 pieces of content every week. We have a couple of content creators within our company. I'm one, and we have a couple others that are excellent teachers. And so avail yourself of all the opportunities you can to learn about Medicare. And really, that's what our channel is all about. So we'd love to have you subscribe to that. No cost. The benefit to you is we notify you every time we put out new content. And as you learn, you can be confident in your decisions, but also be a great source of information for others, because I know at our age, Medicare is a big topic. You talk about it regularly with others, and so it's nice for you to be able to chime in with accurate information. There's so much misinformation that floats around about Medicare and Social Security, so you can help those that may be confused as well. All right, so let's get started tonight. 3 reasons why you wouldn't choose a Medicare supplemental plan. And so for those of you that are new to Medicare or just now exploring your Medicare options, Medicare supplemental plans are the type of plan that actually goes along with original or traditional Medicare. When you do decide to go on Medicare, there's actually only really 3 options you have in using your Medicare benefits. One option is to be enrolled in A and B only. That is a terrible option in my opinion, but they say right now about 10% of the Medicare population actually chooses to have A and B only. Now, the reason I say it's terrible is because there's way too much risk in that position. Medicare pays for sure, but they're not going to pay anything 100% but preventive services. So remember, if you had A and B only, there's always going to be a balance to the bill, and those balances can be very, very hefty, especially if you go through some type of health problem. So A and B only, just wouldn't even consider it. The next 2 options are definitely viable options, and one of those is to do a Medicare supplemental plan, and that's for people that decide they like what's available in the original traditional Medicare system, and they opt to stay in that system, the A and B. But because of the financial gaps, liabilities, they're usually not wanting to be responsible for those. So you have the opportunity to transfer the gaps, most of them, to an insurance company. So you're transferring the liability of those financial gaps to an insurance company, and you pay a premium for them to take that from you. And right now, that's about what 40% of all people on Medicare are doing today. They stay in A and B. Medicare system really is overseeing everything, administering everything, directing their care, all that. But to take care of the financial gaps, they have an independent insurance company that will then provide a coverage for those additional out-of-pocket expenses. That's a Medicare supplemental plan. So that's the second option. And the third option is to do what's called a Medicare Advantage plan. And today this is about half of all people enroll into. And this is a private health insurance company that oversees, administers, coordinates, manages your healthcare services. You're not under the A and B system. You're still enrolled in A and B. You're still paying your B premium. But again, you have a private health insurance company that is going to coordinate all that plan. So those are your three options: A and B only, A and B with a supplemental plan, or A and B replaced by a Medicare Advantage plan. And so tonight, when we talk about why you shouldn't choose a Medicare supplemental plan, I'm going to give you three different scenarios where you would not, meaning I don't think it's a viable option for you. And so the first one would be anyone that is on Medicaid. And I know there's some tonight watching this that you are on Medicaid and you qualified for state Medicaid. And so what happens is Medicaid is actually covering the majority of, if not all, of your Part B premium, and you are classified as what we call a dual eligible. Dual eligible. You're not only eligible for Medicare, but also for Medicaid. And as a dual eligible, there are some very attractive Medicare Advantage plans designed for you. They give you some extra benefits because state Medicaid is also providing some money for you for your services. So again, Medicare pays and you have Medicaid combined. And so when you enroll into a dual eligible Medicare Advantage plan, then what happens is a lot of those benefits, out-of-pocket expenses are minimal. Most services that you would get on a dual eligible Medicare Advantage plan are going to be zero to you. Rarely we have to pay anything to go to the hospital or go to the doctor. There's just almost always zero copays. You have wonderful drug benefits within that dual eligible plan. So that's nice. And then they give you some really nice perks, a very high dental allowance, vision allowance, typically a gym membership, again, an embedded drug plan. And so it's very difficult if you're dual eligible to be able to do anything beyond that. Now, technically, you're not really supposed to be able to get a med sup plan anyways because the federal government and the state government is paying for your premiums. But again, if I were in your position, I would not get a supplemental plan just because I think you're going to be better covered and certainly a better price than any other option that you have. Okay, so that would be reason number one. I would not get a supplemental plan as if you're dual eligible. Number two would be if you were in a position where you started Medicare and you chose to be covered by an Advantage plan. You went under what is called Medicare C plans, Advantage plans, replacement plans, and you have now been on that Advantage plan for a year or 3 or 5 or 7 or 10 or whatever. You've been on that now for some time. What happens, the only way that you can get off of that Advantage plan now in all states but 4. So what I'm getting ready to teach you does not apply to New York, Connecticut, Maine, and Massachusetts, and soon to be Minnesota for the first 3 months of the year. But 4 states plus soon Minnesota is when I'm teaching you. Those now 5 states have exceptions to this rule. So everywhere else, if you've been on an Advantage plan for a year plus, what happens to get off of that Advantage plan and to move back to traditional Medicare, original Medicare, and get a supplemental plan to cover those financial gaps, you have to medically qualify to make that move. So if there's any situation going on with your health, I wouldn't try to get a Medicare supplemental plan. If you are a diabetic that's insulin dependent, very difficult to get you qualified. If you have rheumatoid arthritis or spinal stenosis or osteoporosis, those kind of health conditions are not going to be in your favor. In other words, an insurance company, when they look at your health pre-existing conditions, they're not going to approve that. So my counsel to you is to be sure that you try to get the very best Advantage plan that you can. And those change year to year. We're going to see some really huge changes in 2026. And so as this new enrollment period, open enrollment period, rolls around here in just a little over a month, October 15th through December 7th, I would encourage you, find the best Advantage plan that you can, because you're not going to be able to medically qualify to get that supplemental plan. Because again, you're in that period of time, you've lost what's called the trial right, and you're going to have to medically qualify. And so we always check your medications. So there's certain medications that would disqualify you, certainly health conditions, anything major, heart, lung, liver, kidney, cancer, diabetes, all of those, very, very difficult to get you approved. So don't frustrate yourself in trying to go through that process. So that's second reason I would not choose a Medicare supplemental plan, because you're not going to be able to qualify health-wise other than in those 5 states I mentioned. So again, get the best plans you can. The number 3, and this probably would be really just as equally important as the others, but for those of you that are on Medicare Advantage already, or you're getting ready to go on to Medicare for the first time, if you cannot afford the premium for a supplemental plan, meaning that is not in your budget, then I would encourage you, don't try to go down that direction. I've been in this business 17 years now, and I can't even remember a time when someone that could not afford a supplemental plan tried to and then kept it. They almost always cancel it within a couple months or a year or less. And so if the Med Supp does not fit your budget, even though you may want to have, you like to have it, if you can't afford it, none of us can live beyond our means. And so I would encourage you, don't attempt to do it. It's very frustrating for people. And then what happens if you buy that initially and you keep it for 3 or 4 months, and then all of a sudden you can't afford it? Now, unless you're at the right time of the year, now you can't even go out and get an Advantage plan until the next open enrollment season. So that is a bad position to be in. So please don't try to go on a supplemental plan if you cannot afford the premium. All right, so the whole issue really revolves around, well, why would someone want to get a supplemental plan if there's a premium and they can afford it? Well, the reason for that is because if someone stays in the original A and B system, there's some things that are going to be different for them than if they have an Advantage plan. See, you see, all supplemental plans will not have a network of providers. You're not going to be restricted to a network of providers like you could be on an Advantage plan. So that's why some people want SUPs, because they can go to any provider as long as that provider takes Medicare. So you don't have a restriction of network, HMO, or PPO. You have open access. And again, that's why some people want it. But again, you have to be able to afford that premium to have that type of amount of providers available to you. And again, if you can't afford it, then we find the best Advantage plan. Number 2 reason that people choose supplemental plans and would like oftentimes to switch to them is because there are almost 0 pre-authorizations. Now, Medicare does have a couple of pre-authorizations right now, about a dozen. They're going to add 17 pre-authorizations in 6 states on a 5-year test program. So they have basically 30 pre-authorizations max. Where on Advantage plan, right now there's about 7,000 Medicare codes. 7,000. 27% of those that are on the Advantage plan are going to have a pre-approval process, pre-authorization. So people on Advantage plans are going to see on a regular basis the need to have a pre-authorization. In other words, a healthcare service that's expensive, an MRI, a CAT scan, a surgery, inpatient, outpatient, skilled nursing stay, those things that are going to have to be pre-approved by the insurance company. And again, many times they're approved, but sometimes they're not. They delay them or deny them. And so people that are concerned about pre-authorizations oftentimes want a supplemental plan because they're not going to have to undergo that by the supplemental company. The supplemental company has no say-so, can't delay, can't deny. If Medicare pays, they're going to have to pay. All right. And then lastly, some people want SUPs because they're permanent, lifetime, portable policies. Permanent meaning they can never be canceled by the insurance company. Advantage plans can be canceled year to year because it's only a year-long contract. Supplemental plans are a lifetime. Supplemental plans are also portable. So you live in one state, move to another state, take your supplemental plan with you. It cannot be canceled because you relocated. It cannot be canceled because you have a lot of claims. It can't be canceled because of your age. Nothing. It can never be canceled except for non-payment of premium. With Advantage plans, they're 1 year at a time. Insurance companies can cancel them. In fact, we're going to see probably 1.5 million people affected by terminated Medicare supplemental plans going into 2026. That's a huge disruption to the market. That can never happen with supplemental plans. They truly are lifetime policies. And so my point is, as people look at these systems that are available to them, and they may like the features of what's offered in a supplemental plan, no networks, no pre-authorizations by the insurance company, and permanent policies that are portable. They may want that, but if you can't afford the premium for that, you just can't get it. So then again, you're back to getting that very best Advantage plan that you can, okay? And so those would be the three reasons I would say and discourage you from trying to get an Advantage plan, right? Medicare, Medicaid, you got to qualify to get off Advantage to MedSup, and you can't do that. And number three, you simply cannot afford the premium, okay? All right, so enough of that. I want to make sure you're clear. If you need assistance further in talking about this, of course, we write supplemental plans. We also write Advantage plans, but before we do that, we always make sure that we understand your situation, your budget, your health concerns, your worries, those kinds of things to make sure that we can give you all your options, shop all those options for you, and then once you know those options, then you, of course, get to decide what is going to be the best coverage plan for you. Okay, we'd be delighted to serve as your broker. All right, so Daniel, that is it for tonight for me as far as the topic. Let's take some questions. I'm ready when you are, sir. Okay, retired federal employee on CSRS, yeah, which Medicare should I select, A and B only? Okay, well, what I would do in your situation, Hunter, number one is I'd like to know, and you don't have to tell me, but I'm saying if I'm in your position, I'm analyzing what does it cost you to be on the what's called the FEHB system, Federal Employee Health Benefits. I'm assuming, Hunter, you probably have Blue Cross, or maybe you have GEHA, but you have someone that is the primary insurance company. And so what happens when you retire and you come off, you're no longer working and now you're getting your retirement annuity, I'd like to know what does it cost to stay on that plan. We find some federal employees, the premium is very attractive and some not so attractive. And so if you're happy with the premium and that works for your budget, then what I would do in your scenario is I would enroll in A and B only, and then you will get some type of a credit, either from GEHA or Blue Cross, whoever you have, towards your Part B, which is about $800 a year. And then you keep your FHB plan, and they will pay second to Medicare. So again, enroll in A and B. They're going to pay first. Let your FHB pay second. Your FHB plan already has a credible coverage drug plan that's embedded. And so to me, if the premiums are reasonable, that's a very good option. Now, the reason that I tell people that are on FEHB to be cautious about enrolling into supplemental plans is because when you do that, what happens is you actually have to terminate permanently your FEHB benefits. There's a form, it's an OPM form, that you actually have to say, I no longer want to be in the system, because otherwise, if you had a supplemental plan and you had your FEHB plan, you're way overinsured. You're paying too much premium. So people that decide to come out of FEHB and get a supplemental plan, they terminate their FEHB benefits, and it's permanent, and you have to sign off on that. Now, of course, your annuity check is going to go up because you're no longer paying the premium, but now all of a sudden you're out of that system, and sometimes people are very concerned about it, or real cautious about terminating their FEHB. So that's why in your scenario, I would say probably not going to get a supplemental plan. Now, I've had plenty of people who were unhappy with FEHB. Their premiums were not that attractive, and so they went ahead and did that, but they understood the implications of that. Now, last I want to say, I know, Hunter, you don't have to get B. You're not required. And by the way, FEHB people are the only ones that can do this. They don't have to have B. They actually can have A only, and then they don't have to do B. But the problem with that, Hunter, is if you don't take B now, then you can still pick up B at a later date, but you're going to be subject to penalties on B, and you can only enroll into B during the general enrollment period once a year, the first 3 months. So if you don't take B now at 65 or at retirement, then yes, you can pick it up, but you're going to be penalized. So the federal government says you don't have to have it, but that still does not cause you to be exempt of the penalties that come with B if you don't take it at retirement or at 65. So I know some employees, federal people, take A only, and but I don't really suggest that at all. Okay, enough of that. Hope that helped. Let's keep going, Daniel. Alrighty, is it okay, wise to buy a supplemental plan that has a terrific rate but may close its books next year? Wow. Well, I wouldn't do that, okay? Now, that plan is still going to service you. It's still lifetime for sure. So I'm not worried about you losing the plan, but the problem is, when you say close its books, I'm assuming you're saying they're going to stop offering MedSup plans? I think that's what you're saying. And so that would be concerning to me because, there's no new money going into the pool. People are maybe even be avoiding that group, that company, because that pool may not be as large. Therefore, rate stability could be questionable. So I'm not sure what company you're referring to. I think Allstate's pulling out of the business. I know there's a couple others right now that are going to. So I would be cautious there. Because that premium is probably not going to be as stable as those companies that are going to stay in the business for the future. May look attractive now, but long term, I'm real skeptical. I will tell you, we have companies approach us regularly that want us to write their med subs, and they're new to the business, and we watch for a while because we want to see exactly how they're going to behave, how well they're going to service things. So we're cautious for a while. Now, I mean, we wouldn't write them eventually, but right out of the gate, we don't jump on those low premiums too quickly. Okay, so that's my advice on that. It's tough, and again, I'm not sure what carrier you're talking about there, but I would really use caution if it were me. All right, Daniel. Okay, I'm healthy, take no meds, and do not have a regular doctor. Do I have to choose a Medicare plan? Okay, do you have to choose a Medicare plan? Well, here's what happened by plan. Let me say this. If you're turning 65 and you're no longer working, your spouse is no longer working, meaning you do not have an employer-provided plan available to you, then yes, you are making a mistake if you do not go on original traditional Medicare. Now, as far as no meds, I'm glad you don't, and I hope you never do, but we don't get a drug plan for most people just because of what they're taking right now. We get a drug plan in case they need something that's very expensive. Listen, folks, I deal with people on a regular basis. I had a guy the other day, literally $33,000 a month for his medication. Stelara, okay? $33,000. Now, he's on a high dosage of that. I've had others on Stelara that are, like $13,000 a month. But the point is, if you take a Part D plan, you will not spend that. You will spend no more this year than $2,000 out of your pocket because that's the max cap on all Part D plans. And so if you don't pick up a Part D plan and you get something, some serious issue, you're going to have a problem. So that's one issue. The second issue is if you are saying, hey, I'm healthy, I don't take any meds, I don't have a regular doctor, and you don't want to spend any money for a supplemental plan, then at least get A and B with an Advantage plan, PPO if possible, HMO if not. And the reason for that, because listen, the worst option is A and B only. Then the next to me would be Advantage, and then the best would be supplemental if you can afford it. But the reason I like the Advantage plan in this scenario, because you don't have a doc, you don't take meds, sounds like probably you're thinking you'll be healthy for a long time. I like the Advantage for two reasons. Number one, at least you have a max out of pocket. Okay, if you have A and B only, there's no max. Sky's the limit. You have a health problem, and I'm telling you all, the second largest group of medical debt holders in America today are people on Medicare. Second largest debt holders, meaning this medical debt problem, the second largest group that holds this debt would be those that are already on Medicare. That's sad. And again, many of those because of they had A and B only. So at least the Advantage plan, I have a max out of pocket. It could be $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, but at least there is a stop loss limit. A and B has no limit. Secondly, I like Advantage plans because the majority of them are going to have an embedded drug plan. And there are going to be several of them this year that are zero premium other than Medicare B. So I would get an Advantage plan then, so at least we can stop the losses, and we have a drug plan, so we have coverage if we need it, and there's not going to be any future penalties. So that'd be my advice to you, all right? So yes, in my opinion, you need to choose a plan. But if you don't want to spend the money on SUP, get a good Advantage plan. All right, Daniel. Okay, what about self-employed person turning 65 in 2025 with marketplace type insurance? Okay, Robert, here's what happens. Marketplace plans and what some would refer to as Obamacare, I don't call it that, but that we all know what that means. Those are Affordable Care Act plans. You went to the marketplace, get an individual plan or family plan. Here's what happens. The majority of people, in fact, right now this year in 2025, 93% of all people on ACA plans are subsidized in some fashion. The majority of them are getting premium tax credits, cost sharing, reduced cost sharing, definitely reduced premiums, reduced deductibles. So they're very much this year incentivized. Now, some of that's going to change next year for sure. But for now, Robert, probably getting some sort of a subsidy. And so what happens is at 65, I mean the month you turn 65, those subsidies go away. So if you stay on an ACA plan at age 65, and you would find this out next year, you're not going to get any kind of premium tax credit. You're going to owe the full premium for that plan, and there's no reduced cost sharing either. So there is no reason, Robert, to be on an ACA plan once you hit 65. And I know what happens. Some of you are not paying much for your ACA plan. Going on Medicare is going to cost you more. And that's just the way it works. But trust me, when you turn 65, that ACA plan is going to lose all of its incentives. So technically you can keep it, but there's no reason to do it. So you need to go on Medicare when you turn 65, your 65th birth month. All right, Daniel, who's next? How can we choose the best dental supplement? What's the difference between dental plan and dental insurance? Well, really, they're really both the same. We may refer to it dental insurance, dental plan. So you're asking choose the best. So couple things. If you decide to go with an Advantage plan, what you have to pay attention to is the dental allowance. What most Advantage plans do, not all, but most, are going to give you some kind of a dental allowance. That dental allowance may be for coverage just for preventive, meaning they'll cover a couple cleanings, x-rays once a year, cleanings, those kind of things, preventive only. Other plans, Medicare Advantage now embedded, they may give you $1,000 or $1,500 worth of dental allowance, meaning you can use that money for preventive or you can use it for other services up to that limit. The issue is you have to make sure you know what the network is. Does your dentist take that? That's one of the difficulties that some people face with Medicare Advantage dental allowances. Sometimes they can't find a dentist that they like that is going to take the plan. So in those situations, normally what we recommend is go ahead and go where you want to go, pay out of pocket, and then you can take that bill, the receipts of those bills, and submit those for a medical reimbursement by your Advantage plan. They will do that. All right, so that's my advice there with Advantage. Now, if you decide you're going to go with a supplemental plan, then you can get a dental, something more beyond just a dental allowance. You can get dental insurance, a dental plan. They're all the same. And so the best, what I would do, I would look at a couple things. I would want to know, do I have immediate coverage or will there be waiting periods? Now listen. Those of you that are still working, it's smart of you, if you want dental insurance, to be sure to get it within 30 days of losing your group plan, and there's no waiting periods. Almost all the companies today will waive waiting periods, so you really have immediate coverage. So that's number one. So when we get the coverage, and then how is it going to cover? A good plan is going to cover your preventive at 100% with no deductible. Couple cleanings, x-rays once a year, all that. And then a good plan is going to cover your basic services, which would be extractions and fillings, those kind of low-cost items, at 80-20, meaning insurance company, dental plan, pays 80%, you pay 20%. Some of those are at 90-10. They'll pay 90, you pay 10%. So I'd want to know my coverage on basic services and then coverage on major. At best, is going to be 60-40, usually 50-50. So if you go in for an implant or periodontal work or a crown or a bridge, then those are not going to be covered at a normal, the basic rate. It's going to be covered at 50-50. They pay 50, you pay 50, or they pay 60, you pay 40. So that's the third factor. The fourth factor is you want to look at what's my maximum what's my maximum annual benefit? So how much will they spend on you in a 12-month period? Most plans that are good that we write are going to be around $2,000 to $2,500. We have one carrier that covers up to $5,000 for the year. And so you have to pay attention to that. And so once you know how the plan's going to work, what's the coverage look like as far as percentages, the annual benefit, all those kind of things, then you look at the premium and make a comparison. And we tell our folks, on average, we're looking at about a $50 a month premium for a dental plan, about $50 a month. And again, could be lower, a little higher. I'm just saying on an average, that would be a decent dental plan, okay? And that's a standalone dental plan. For those of you then that are going to get supplemental plans, you're going to have A and B. You're going to have your supplemental plan, and you're going to have a separate dental plan. The last thing I'd say is if you like your dentist, it's not a bad idea to see if the dentist takes your plan. Now, if it's a PPO, it doesn't matter. You can go anywhere you want. If the dentist won't file the claims, you can pay out of pocket and then get reimbursed. It's just if your dentist takes a plan, your benefit amount, whether it's $2,000 a year or $3,000 or whatever it is, that money goes a little bit farther because the dentist is in network and you get a little bit better pricing for that. So those are the things that we look at. I hope that helped, Kevin. Okay, Daniel, let's go. I'm retired military, have access to TRICARE and the VA, which includes vision and dental. So do I just need Part B? Okay, yeah, of course, you're going to have A for sure. So yes, that's all you need, Patricia. A and B is going to pay first. And by the way, TRICARE requires you to be enrolled in A and B because they move to the second payer position once you're 65. So again, enroll in A and B. If you're already on Social Security, they're going to enroll you automatically anyways. And then let VA serve as secondary payer. And so what that means, Patricia, is that when you go to a doctor, or if you had to go to the hospital, you're going to give them your A and B card and your TRICARE card, and Medicare pays first, TRICARE pays second. And so you're rarely out of pocket much. I know they do have some max out of pockets with TRICARE. Now, if you go to the VA, then they're not going to bill Medicare, they're not going to bill TRICARE. It's a totally different system. All right, so I like TRICARE a lot just because now you can go to your own civilian doctors because they're going to take A and B, and then they'll file the claim with TRICARE second. The VA typically have to use the VA facilities, and I know sometimes you can go out of network, but I think mostly you're using the VA hospitals. You can get your meds through VA. You can also use TRICARE as your drug plan because they have credible drug coverage. Now, I want to pause for a second and tell you about something that many people in your position are doing today. And Patricia, I'm not saying you should do this. I'm saying this is something that you may want to look at. There's a very unique Medicare Advantage plan called Medicare Advantage Only. We use the acronym MA Only. MA Only means it covers you for inpatient and outpatient. And so what TRICARE will do is they will coordinate as the secondary payer. They will coordinate benefits with either original A and B, or they will coordinate with the Advantage plan. And so a lot of people in your position would do that for this reason. Because you can get your meds either through TRICARE or the VA, that Medicare Advantage company does not have to give you drug coverage. It's an MA only plan. It's not an MA with a prescription drug plan. It's MA only. And so because they get a certain amount of dollars from the federal government, what they do is then they credit back to you a certain amount of money. It's a give back. And so now they're not going to write you a check every month, but what they do is they may give you $150 or $175 a month that would be credited towards your Part B, either the bill or credited on your Social Security check. It's real dollars. And so a lot of people that have eligibility for TRICARE and VA will do that. It just brings the cost of all that down. And the good news is it's not permanent. If you don't like that system, every year during the Medicare open enrollment season, you can go back in and just have A and B and TRICARE. So that's something you may want to try. We write those plans every day. I think they're good options. Now, again, you are going to deal with networks, but if you have those plans, the MA only plans are usually PPO plans, so you can really almost go anywhere you want. So that's typically not an issue. Plus, what happens, you do have some of the other perks, such as hearing aids, gym membership, and those kinds of things that the Advantage plan will also give you. And again, it's not permanent decisions. So that's something you may want to look at. And again, we write those. You want to call the 800 number. We can tell you more about that. But if you decide not to do that and just have A and B with TRICARE, it's still fine coverage as well. Okay, let's keep going. One insurer offers medical supplement G plus, which covers some aspects of dental coverage. Should I go for a G plus plan or a separate dental and vision plan? Well, it just depends on what the extra amount is for that plus side. As you compare that to a standalone dental plan, just make a comparison. I don't think that's a bad option to have that necessarily if it's adequate. I have seen some of those plus coverages, and I've seen some at $1,000, some at $1,500 a year benefit. And to me, that's not great. I'd rather get a dental plan that's carrying $2,500 plus on an annual basis, but make that price comparison. So. Just depends. I mean, I don't think it's bad to look at that, but I definitely would do what I think you're trying to do is make that comparison to see, what it's really costing you to have their dental plan. Okay. All right, let's keep going. My Social Security starts in October. First check will deposit in November. I don't start Medicare until December. Can I get my Medicare to start in October also? No, you can't. Yeah, the only people that can start Medicare prior to their birth month are people that are on Social Security disability. and they start on the 25th month of having disability, whether they're 60 or 45, doesn't matter. But in your position, no, you can't do that. And so your Medicare is going to start at 65, and of course you probably already know that you'll be automatically enrolled. When you start Social Security, they will begin your Medicare the month of December. And the only thing that's really going to happen for you, Teresa, is that your first check in November, that check is going to be different than your check in December because they're going to take your Part B premium out of your December check. Social Security is 1 month in arrears, but Medicare is month of. All right, so that's what happened. Your December check, trust me, will be $185 a month less, unless you're high income, and then they'll take the IRMA out as well. But if you're just normal income, like most folks, single below $106,000 a year, married couple below $212,000 a year, you'll just pay the $185, and it'll come out of your check in December. So sorry about that. Can't start early. Let's keep going. All right, was accepted in Medicare A and B, applied for the month age blind and disabled program that takes 90 days to hear about eligibility. Should I go ahead and enroll in Supplemental Plan and Plan D because birthday in October? Okay, well, you'll have to forgive me. I'm not real familiar with your situation. So I can't answer that. And I'm really sorry. Blind disabled program. My gut feeling, if I were in your position, I would say probably not on the supplemental plan, because it sounds like to me that you may have some additional benefits. And so the reason I'm saying that is on the supplemental plan, you still have 6 months of your Medicare B date to enroll into a supplemental plan without any underwriting. And so if you're saying to me this program that you enrolled in, that I'm not familiar with, is going to give you some additional supplemental benefits in lieu of a normal supplemental plan G or N, then I don't think you're going to need that. But again, I do not know what additional benefits you have. I'm sorry. But if it's good and you're anticipating them to pick up some of the gaps like a supplemental plan would, then I would not go ahead and do a supplemental plan now. Why don't you wait and find out about that? Because again, you're not losing your Medigap open enrollment period. I would never want you to go beyond 6 months of your B date. And so your birthday's in October, so that means that 6 month window where there's no underwriting for you includes October, November, December, January, February, March. So you're still within that 6 month window. October 1 all the way through the end of March, you can apply for a supplemental plan. No underwriting. The insurance company that you select has to take you. Okay, so if you have 90 days, you still got some time to write it out. Now, if your blind and disabled program includes a drug plan, then again, you may not need a drug plan. Now, the way drug plans work is this. It's not quite the 6 months. You have all of October, November, December, January to enroll into a drug plan for an effective date of February 1, if you want to. Now, if you're unsure about that and you need medications right now, then I would enroll into a drug plan. You can get them very low cost, and I'd have that thing start October 1. And then you can always cancel that once you hear about your eligibility, on this blind and disabled program. Okay, you don't have to take it through. You just have coverage for October, November, December. You should know by then, and then you would not have to renew that if this special program is going to cover you for drugs. Again, I'm very sorry, just not familiar with it, but that's my advice for now. Okay, Daniel. All right, there's a new Alzheimer drug, Leqembi. I'm familiar with it, early for onset AD, but it's $26,000 is that one that is in formulary, would be limited to $2,000 cap. It's an infusion to take in a hospital. Okay, well, now I was not aware, because the Leqembi, or whatever you say it, has been out for a while. I know that it was not very successful at first, so maybe they've changed it some, I'm not sure. And it was going to be covered by Medicare. If you're saying it's infusion taken in a hospital, then that tells me that there's a possibility that the medication then is going to be covered by Medicare Part B. So that's the first thing I would find out. Daniel, can you Google that and find out if Leqembi is going to be covered by D or B? Because I would suspect it would be B if it's going to be in the hospital with infusion. I think it was oral before when it got approved a couple years ago. Do you see anything there at all? Nothing? Okay, yeah. I did read about it recently. So usually, folks, when there's a medication that is an infusion or injection is taken in a facility, hospital, outpatient clinic, then that's covered by Medicare B. All right. And so, but the 2000 cap has nothing to do with Part B covered meds. It has everything to do with Part D meds. So if it's covered by D and it is in formulary, then yes, that $2,000 cap would apply. The 2000 includes everything that's in formulary, but it does not include the premium for the drug plan that you're on. Okay, let's keep going. All right, Part A is automatic when you start collecting Social Security, right? And that's true. You are also, if you're on Social Security, enrolled in Medicare B, but you don't have to keep it. Anyone that's on Social Security is automatically enrolled into Medicare at age 65. You get the card about 3.5 months prior. But if you have a good group plan, if you or your spouses, you're going to keep working, you don't have to keep the B. You can disenroll from B by mailing the card back in, and they'll send you a new card with A only, or you fill out a form called a 1763, submit it to the local office, and then they will disenroll you from Part B. Now listen, if your group plan's lousy, or you don't have one, obviously you're not going to do that. You're going to stay enrolled in A and B. But if you do have a good group plan option and there's 20 employees or more on the payroll, then I encourage people to don't keep B, just have A only. But you're right, if you're on Social Security, you cannot opt out of A. You have to be on Part A. All right. That's why those of you that are on Social Security, you have Part A, cannot contribute to an HSA, because once we have Part A, you cannot put new money into a health savings account. Okay. Once you're 65 and beyond. All right. What's next? All right. Finally got my Medicaid application approved. Good. Currently, Medicare shows me as original A, Part D. Can I call your office to help me sort out how to move forward with dual plans? Absolutely. Yeah, no problem. Just call in. And we have access to a lot of records to find out your exact status. It's called Qualified Medicare Beneficiary or QMB Plus. There's a variety of them. But yeah, our agents know how to access that system, and they will walk you through and show you what would be available in Florida. We write in all 50 states, folks, so we write all over the country. But Florida would definitely be one of our top states. So call in, Shelby, and just tell the receptionist team. We actually have 15 receptionists. As people call in, we don't just answer the phone. We have to kind of triage the call to see what your needs are, and then we transfer you, of course, to the appropriate department. So do that, and an agent will help you decide what's really going to be your options and which one would be best for you. We'd love to serve as your broker, so give us a call, please. Okay, if you're dual eligible, but then later on no longer qualify, can you then go to supplemental plan, or do you have to stay with an advantage plan? Okay, what happens is if you're dual eligible and you involuntarily lose that eligibility of Medicaid, meaning you inherited some money, or something happened financially and you involuntarily do that, then yes, you can go back to original Medicare and you would have what we call a guaranteed issue right for a supplemental plan. Meaning you wouldn't have to go through underwriting. Okay, so you would not have to stay in the Advantage plan. Now, if you voluntarily give up your Medicaid, and I'm not sure why anyone would do that, then you would not have that guaranteed issue right. So most people, when they lose Medicaid eligibility, it's not voluntary, it's involuntary because their finances changed. So you would have a period of time to move to a supplemental plan. Now, if you started Medicare before 1/1/2020, that guaranteed issue product would be an F supplemental plan. We start Medicare after 1/1/2020, then that would be a guaranteed issue G supplemental plan. Okay, that's the way it works. Who's next? All right, as we're getting close to people being able to sign up for Medicare for 2026, when are all the new rules going to be out to where we can expect Marvin to teach on the changes? Okay, well, we're starting to do that now. We've already shot some videos for our present clients that they'll be getting in regards to these changes. So just watch the YouTube channel. If you're a client, just watch for notices from us because we're familiar with some of the changes. They're not all out yet, so we know some of them for sure, but all the plans have not yet been finalized. Frankly, they don't have to be finalized until October 1, but usually we hear a little bit before then. So, today's September 4th. So we should have those, the ones that we do know about. You'll be hearing from us on those very, very shortly. All right. Thanks, Jeff, for the question. I'm retiring 1031 from a large company with group insurance and want to start MDCRB 11-1 in Florida, but plan to move to South Carolina in 3 or 4 months. Should I wait and sign up for G after the move to South Carolina? Okay, so I would like to know, I wish I knew when your birthday is. You're retiring and want to start Medicare. So you must be born in November. So if you're going to start B 11-1, the only problem that I see for you waiting 3 or 4 months is if you did have some kind of a serious health issue between 11-1 and your move to South Carolina, you're going to be responsible for that 20%. So I know that G plans are expensive in Florida. I got that. Most people today are going with N plans in Florida just because of the premium difference. But what will happen, Lori, is when you set up a supplemental plan G in Florida and you move to South Carolina, then you'll have the option to be able to get South Carolina rates. That's the Florida rules. Even when you move, you have the right to keep the Florida rate, but why would you want to do that? So what I would do is make the move, do your change of address once you've got the Florida, and then the company you're with should give you South Carolina rates. And if you want to call in and talk to us specifically about that, we'd be happy to do that. Because your supplemental plan is portable. So you move from Florida to South Carolina, you get to keep the plan, and then you should typically, in that kind of a move, see a reduction in your rate in South Carolina. Now, here's another issue. If that company doesn't lower your rate, Lori, it's no problem because you're still going to be within that 6-month window where you can switch supplemental companies without any underwriting. Remember that 6 month is all of November, December, January, February, March, April. So you have all the way up to April 1, even if that company doesn't lower your rate, to get a new plan with no underwriting in the state of South Carolina. And again, we would help you with all of that. So please call in. We can truly help you. So to me, a little risky to be responsible for the 20% coinsurance. I'd still go and want to pay a little bit more. And what you could always do too, Lori, is this. Why don't you take an N plan in Florida since the rate's substantially lower, and then when you move to South Carolina, then you can just move that, cancel the N, and get a G plan in South Carolina where the rates are going to be much better. So that would also be a possibility. So again, call in. We'll help you through this initial plan and as well as the move as well. Plus, you're going to have a drug plan in Florida. Because when you move to South Carolina, the drug plan in Florida is going to be canceled. So you'll need a new drug plan. So we have a system to facilitate that as well. So we would be delighted to help you with that. All right, Daniel, who's next? What happens if I land a job that offers healthcare plan? Okay, so what happens if you're already on Medicare and you get a job that has good health benefits? What we encourage people, make a comparison. Lay both options side by side. And if the group health plan is really substantially better, or maybe you have a spouse that's younger and needs to be covered by the group plan, then you can always cancel your Medicare B. You can always cancel your supplemental plan and your drug plan if you're moving on to a regular group plan. Now, keep in mind, you want to make sure the employer has 20 employees or more. Okay, if it's 19 or less, you would not want to drop your Medicare. You would just say no to the group plan. But if it's a good group plan, 20 or more employees on the payroll, then you can do that. Okay, you can drop it. It's very easy to do. You can drop everything but A. Okay, other than that, it's very doable. And when we have clients do this, you all, so you get set up. We're happy when you call us and you got a better situation. We'll help you get all those policies canceled. Now, again, meaning help you, we'll give you the instructions to make sure it's going to be done properly and done on time. Okay. All right, next. Why can't you use HSA dollars to pay for supplemental insurance premiums? Well, the reason is because when the whole HSA legislation was approved, it was set up because HSA plans are to be attached to high deductible health plans, high deductible health plans. And so the idea was to let people be on a high deductible health plan. So if they had a health issue, you had to meet that deductible before the plan paid. The benefit was they had a lower premium. but to make sure that people then would save money towards, have the high deductible, but would save money to cover that deductible. They designed it so that you cannot use your HSA money to pay premiums. HSA money is to be used to pay for medical expenses, not premiums. And so they keep that same rule once you retire. They're saying HSA money can be used for really tons of things, you all, but not premiums for supplemental plans. That's the why behind it. They originally weren't designed to cover premiums. They were designed to cover the expenses to meet your high deductible. Okay, so that's why. Now listen, you all, there's a list, and you can Google this, but it's called qualified medical expenses. And I'm telling you, it's almost everything. You can get reimbursed for Part B. You can pay your drug premium with it. You certainly any out-of-pocket expenses. If you have a G plan, you get your B deductible. You can use it for a lot of things. And now I'm being a little sarcastic here, but I did read this. If you need a pair of tennis shoes, and you can call those exercise equipment, which if that's true, you can do it, and you can get reimbursed for that. So they're very lenient as what is a qualified medical expense for HSAs. It just has to be labeled correctly, but not med sup premiums. That's all. Okay, let's keep going. All right, I'm on 4 specialty medications. Would a supplemental plan be best for me? Plan to go on Social Security and Medicare in about a year and a half. I'm 68. Okay, well, specialty medications, if they're self-administered, it's not going to have, it doesn't have anything to do with the supplemental plan at all, because supplemental plans are not going to cover Part D medications. That would be a Part D plan. Now, if these specialty medications are infusions or injections that are professionally administered, then yes, a supplemental plan would be a good idea, because the way that's going to work is Medicare B is going to pay 80% of the cost, and your supplemental plan, even if it's a G or N, would pick up the balance of that. So when you say supplemental plan, I would do a G or an N plan. I think they're both really good options. And frankly, you all, I turned 65 in January, and I'm going on Medicare. And I'm going to take a G plan, but let me tell you why. In my state, I live in Missouri, our office is actually in Kansas, but in Missouri, the difference in premium is about $40 a month. Okay, so I could save $500 a year if I went with an N plan. But I'm not, because that $500 a year is not going to make or break me. Now, if it was $500 on the ground, I'd pick it up and be grateful. But I'm saying it's not going to make or break me. And so I can afford to get the G plan. It's going to be a little bit more comprehensive. I don't have any copays. I don't have to worry about excess, even if that were to occur. It's rare, but if it did, I don't have to worry about it. So I'm comfortable spending a little extra to get comprehensive. Now, some of you, you may say, Marvin, I don't want to spend that extra $50. I want to save that. Well, then I think it's wonderful. Then get an in-plan. It's still great. You have no networks. You have no pre-authorization by the insurance company. Go anywhere you want. It's national coverage, so you get all the benefits of a supplemental plan. But if that in-plan, there's a significant difference between N and G. Some states, it's $100, $150 a month. Well, then I'd get an in-plan for sure then. So if in your area there's a significant difference, or in your budget, you just want something a little bit more budget-friendly, then get an in-plan, okay? And so either G or the N would cover your medications in this situation if it's a B-covered medication, right? Medicare pays first, N or G will pick up the balance. All right, let's keep going. All right, can I call about a drug plan? Okay, well, I assume you're talking about for 2026. Daniel, do we have that site yet for that drug lookup tool? I don't think we have it just yet. Okay, well, we will have a site. Here's the thing. I was going to give you the website. I know the info's not there yet because the drug plan's not finalized. So drug plans are supposed to be public October 1. And we'll have a couple different websites that you can go to be able to get some assistance for that. Enrollments can't occur until October 15th. All right, so they're officially supposed to be ready October 1, 15th you enroll. And so, that's you can call in. If you're one of our clients, we'll, reach out to everybody, making sure the resources and tools we're going to give to you this year to make sure that you're on the right prescription drug plan. All right, anything else? All right. Are supplemental plans offered by employers different than buying from a broker? Employer offers high and low option supplemental. Yeah, they're totally different. What we call these plans offered by employer plans, they're secondary plans. They pay second to Medicare. Now they function just like a supplemental plan will, in that Medicare pays first, they pay second. But your employer plans are not going to have the letters that we are writing today: F plan, G plan, N plan. They're not going to have that. They're going to pay second to Medicare. And I've seen a variety of those. And so what I would do, you're looking at high and low option. Take a look at them. See what they're going to cover, what they're not going to cover, what's the price to be on that. Give us a call and talk to one of our agents, and we can make a comparison. And we'll tell you the truth. If it's a good option for you, the price-wise, and it makes sense, then I'd hop all over that. Your only risk that, in my opinion, that you run is this. If that changes, that system changes, or their premiums start going up, and you want to get off of that and then get just a traditional supplemental plan, you're going to have to medically qualify to do that after 6 months of your B date. So you better be sure that you are happy with that decision long term, because if that employer plan changes something, and then you're 5 years into it, and you can't medically qualify to get a supplemental plan, now you're going to have to get an Advantage plan. And so, not that that's a bad option, but you're certainly going to lose some of the benefits of having that supplemental plan. So again, it may be great. I don't know, but happy to give you some advice on that. If you call in, our agent will at least tell you what's available in your market, so you can make an intelligent comparison. All right. We're looking. Hey, babe. Would you bring me something to drink there, please? I am at home doing this tonight, so I am thirsty as can be. I have that drink right there on the counter. Okay, question. I have a UHC Supplemental Plan F, Plan D as of September 1, 2025. Thank you very much. You want me to introduce you and say hi? Come here. Right now. Oh, she has them in her mouth. Okay. Anyways, will you meet my wife? UHCF D as of September, a Medicare newbie. My rep told me to wait and add dental and vision and open enrollment. What benefits am I missing out on here? Okay. Well, you're a newbie. So my first question is, Sable, I don't know why you got an F. I mean, obviously you started Medicare before 1/1/2025. I guess Part A. You must have been born before January 1, 1955. That must be the situation. So you got an F plan. And the only reason I'm saying, Sable, I'm not telling you to undo what you've done, but I have no problem with you on health care. But I just don't think that the supplemental plan Fs long-term are going to be as stable as your G plans and your N plans. So if you're brand new, started just September 1, you're still in that 6 months of your B date. So that's something I think you ought to really think through. Unless you were coming off some kind of a situation where you had to get an F plan, guaranteed issue, then if that's the case, then you keep the F plan. So that's the first thing I would do if I were you. I would see if a G or N wouldn't make more sense. And your G plan is very close to the F. I mean, your F covers all the gaps. G covers 5 of the 6. So the only gap difference would be your Medicare B deductible, which this year is $257. So you average it out by the month, you're talking $20 a month. So look at the comparison between the G and F premiums. And if you're spending more than, let's say, $25 a month more for your F plan versus your G, then I'd be switching to a G for sure. So that's number one. Your drug plan is your drug plan for this year. Drug plans are calendar year plans. And so what you need to do is during open enrollment season, then you need to make sure that you're still happy with your drug plan, because folks, there's going to be some changes for sure. So just because you have a drug plan you like this year, don't assume you're going to like it next year. I hope you do, but you may not. So take the time to be sure to pay attention to your annual notice of change, your notice that'll come by October 1, letting you know what's going to happen to the drug plan in 2026, and then take the time to make a comparison to see if you should switch the drug portion. Now, as far as the dental and vision open enrollment, I wouldn't have given that advice. If you were on a Medicare Advantage, I'd give you that advice, but you're not. So open enrollment has nothing to do with dental and vision plans. So I'm not sure why they said that. And so if you want to call in, we can help you get a dental and vision plan. Those are available now. And the problem is by waiting to open enrollment, you may miss that window of opportunity, Sable, where you don't have to have a waiting period. Because if your group plan had ended August 31, you can get enrolled in a dental vision hearing plan, a dental vision plan now, and you have no waiting periods. Some carriers give you 30 days to do it, and you're still within that. Some give you 60 days. So waiting to open enrollment, to me, I see no benefit of that. I mean, I'm not trying to be unkind here, but it sounds like somebody just didn't want to deal with it, and they just put you off to open enrollment to get on to the next call. I don't know, but I definitely would not have given that advice, especially if you're coming off of a group plan. That way you can avoid those waiting periods. So I'd get right on that if I were you. Okay, Daniel, next. All right, do I have to wait to receive my Medicare number before working with your team? No, not at all. So number one, we want to make sure that enrollment is moving in the right direction, whether that's self-enrollment or you're on Social Security, because we can move forward with just Social Security numbers. MedSup applications can be taken just with Social Security number. Now, when it comes to Part D plans, that enrollment cannot be completed until we have the Medicare number, but we can still pick the plan out, select the plan, get everything set up so that when you do get your Medicare number, then we can make that enrollment happen at that time. So no, people call us all the time. In fact, people call us all the time. They haven't even enrolled in Medicare yet. So this is fine. 3 to 6 months before you turn 65, you can start making decisions and getting enrolled in plans. So give us a call. We're happy to help you. All righty. My husband, who is 5 years older than me, still works and also receives Social Security checks. Since he earned more than I did, his check is higher than mine. So can I apply to get his higher Social Security check? Okay, here's the way it works, Marjorie. The answer is this. Maybe. So he is taking, and so his spouse, as long as you all been married for at least a year or longer, you're eligible for 50% of his full retirement age benefit. It makes no difference what he's getting right now. I promise you it doesn't. It's whatever he was eligible for at his full retirement age. And so if whatever that was, then you're eligible for 50% of that. But that's only if you take your spousal Social Security at your full retirement age. So if you decide to take spousal early, there's a penalty. And the penalty, it's different than just taking our own retirement benefits early. There's a higher penalty. And it is 9.38% reduction for years 1, 2, and 3, and then 5% for years 4 and 5. So you can take early, but the penalty is stiffer. It's greater. So to get the benefit with no reduction, you have to figure out what's he eligible for at his full retirement age. And even if he took at 62, it doesn't matter. It's his full retirement age benefit. You get 50% of that, less penalty. So if you wait to your own full retirement age, then you'll get 50% of his full retirement age. Now, if 50% of his is greater than 100% of yours, then you get to take that. But if not, then you're required in today's laws to take whatever is the greatest. We call this the deeming provision. So when you apply for Social Security, you're deemed to take the greatest amount. You're applying for all possible benefits, and they're going to give you the greatest amount, 100% of your own or 50% of his, less penalty if you take early. All right. I'm retiring at the end of the year. When do I need to sign up for Medicare? Okay. So if you're telling me you're going to retire and your group insurance plan is going to end December 31, that tells me you want to start your Medicare January 1. So what I would do if I were you is I would make arrangements right now. If you're going to use our company, number one, we'd be thrilled. Hope you call us. But I would call in now and get on the calendar because, again, whether you're 65 or 68 doesn't matter. The perfect window of time is right at 90 days prior to when you want your coverage to begin. So, again, if you want to start 1/1, you're within that time frame now. You can start getting everything set up. This is the time to do it. So call in now. Okay, is Medicare going to make us prior authorization begin the new plan year? Okay, no, not necessarily. Let me explain. right now, there's about a dozen prior authorizations in the Medicare system. Now, I don't know how long you've been on the call tonight, but I want to remind you, there are 7,000 Medicare codes. 7,000. Okay, there's about a dozen of those that have prior authorization, and I've looked at the list entirely. Things that the reason they're there is because there's been some abuse within those. So you have a dozen. Now, in 6 states, there are going to be 17 procedures added to that prior authorization list. 17. Okay, those are 6 states. I haven't memorized them yet, but there's 6 of them. And that's a trial period for 5 years. They're going to test pilot for 5 years. And again, why 17 more? Because they went back through and realized lots of abuse with those 17. So of the 7,000 codes, we're going to have about now, in some states, 29, 30, and most states still just a dozen. Okay? And so I'm sharing that with you because I want to make sure you realize that, yeah, they've added a few, and it's only in those 6 states. They had a few before, but in comparison, it's hardly anything, percentage-wise. So there's not a lot of prior authorizations in the original Medicare system at all. And just so you know, for those of you that are on Advantage plans, all of those procedures that are now being added into the 6 states and already existed, all of those have prior authorizations in Medicare Advantage plans, all of them, okay? Now, in addition to that, right now, 27% of all the services you need on Advantage plan will require prior authorization. Okay, so there's tons more. Now, that doesn't make Medicare Advantage plans bad. It's just the fact is you have now a private health insurance company that is able to look at, kind of scrutinize your doctor's recommendations a little bit more thoroughly. They have to agree and approve. And they're trying to streamline that process, which we're glad for that. But there's still tons of prior authorizations that are going to be required in the Medicare Advantage system. They're trying to cut back on those, streamline those for sure, but they're not going away. So I'm just saying there's no way you could compare apples to apples with the amount of prior authorizations in those 2 systems. There's huge amounts still in Advantage, very, 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 very few on the original Medicare supplemental side. Okay, I hope that helped. Let's keep going, Daniel. Forgot to ask, is there a problem with me paying off my home before retirement? Not at all. Now, what happens if you are going to pull money out of your 401k, your IRA? Well, that is then going to count as taxable income towards your modified adjusted gross income, which then could cause you to have additional premium due for your Medicare Part B premiums. That's called an IRMA. So you're saying a problem, I don't know what you make. If you're a single person and you are below 106,000, and that again, that's all your income, 106,000 or below, you're not going to be affected by taking a withdrawal, paying off your home. But you're married, that number is 212,000. By the way, we think in next year it's going to go to 109 and 218. So depending upon where your other income falls, and you combine that with your distributions from your IRA or your 401k plan, then that could put you up into an IRMA level. And so above 106, above 212, you could pay more. But just by paying it off, that certainly is not going to be an issue. It just depends on how you're going to pay that off. You're paying it off of cash, in the bank, or a brokerage account that's already been taxed, no problem. But again, if it's a distribution, then for sure it will count. But if it's not huge, it may still keep you below those thresholds. Okay, so we're talking about IRMAs, modified adjusted gross income. Okay, let's keep going. And by the way, just so you know, that you're doing that, if you do that this year, that would affect you in 2027 because they always look back 2 years. And so you wouldn't even notice it till 2027. Okay. All right. Receiving Social Security survivor benefits. What happens when I qualify for Medicare May 2026? Will deductions occur automatically for my survivor's benefit? Thank you. And yes, you will. So what's going to happen is 100 days before May 26th. So let's just back up the clock. Qualify for Medicare. So we'll back it up. April, March, February. So what's going to happen is you're going to get your Medicare card mailed to you in the mail January, somewhere between the 15th and the 25th. And so it'll show up in January, and you'll have your card. But then in May, which I'm assuming you're going to turn 65, then your May check will be reduced by the Part B premium for Medicare B. So it's going to go down. So that's the only difference. You'll be automatically enrolled in Medicare. You're going to pay your Part B premium out of your Social Security check, your survivor's benefit. So you'll see it go down. Now, folks, we don't know yet what the Part B premium is going to be. Right now, it's $185. They're projecting it to go to about $206 on a monthly basis. So that's what we're expecting. Or was that right? In 206 or 216? I'm sorry, it's somewhere in that range. But anyways, but we think it's going to go up $20 or $30. Again, that's not out yet. It's all based upon inflation, but all indication, it looks like we're going to see an increase in the Part B premium. Okay? All right. Next, was the process to have needed durable medical equipment as lift chairs or things to get around? I have G plan and D plan. Okay, what you want to do, Albert, is you can do a Google search or some kind of search, and you're looking for durable medical equipment providers that take Medicare. Not all DME suppliers will take Medicare. You should be able to find some, and so you let them know that you're needing something. And so here's what I do know for sure: you are going to have a prescription from the doctor. And to get it approved, you're going to have the clinicals as part of that as well. And so what happens is your durable medical equipment provider that takes Medicare will take care of the claim, because number one, they want to get paid. And so the doctor's office will actually submit those clinicals and that prescription to your DME provider, and then they'll submit that to Medicare for approval. Now, I will tell you, what everyone, listen to me, everyone that's watching this is very important. If a person gets in a position, like a lot of people that need a lift chair, sometimes are also going to need a walker or a wheelchair. So what happens is if you need a device that is similar in nature during a 5-year period, then you may not get it approved. Okay, I had a client recently that had a stroke. She needed a lift chair, and the doctor also said she needed a walker. But she's going to go ahead and pay cash for the walker because it's $15-20. Because if she went ahead and got the walker through Medicare, then she would not qualify to get a wheelchair for a 5-year period of time. So it's very, very tricky. So you want to be very cautious with things like that, because they're not going to duplicate because even though you and I know a walker and a wheelchair is different, they're both mobility devices, and they're only going to approve one of those every 5 years. So be cautious in those kind of things. So hopefully you can find a reputable DME provider that can help you. Now, I wish, let me look at something here just real quickly. I get a text from a guy that's in this business. I've never talked to him, but he texts me regularly. And hang on, I'm gonna look just one more second here. He's in the DME business. Okay, now, but it sounds like to me now that looks like they do diabetic supplies. So I don't know if they're a full-blown DME provider. So I don't think we better do that. That's probably a specialty. So what I want you to do, again, Google it, DME providers that take Medicare. You'll find someone. Just call around and they'll walk you through the process. That's how it's all done. All right, let's keep going. All right, if I choose an implant in Florida, do I have to pay 100% for doctors, labs, etc. until deductible is met? Yes, you do. Everything that's covered by Medicare B, and by the way, even if you choose a G plan, same thing, because you have to meet that B deductible once a year. And so Energy would be that. So the first $257 this year coming through the B system, which is doctors and labs, is going to come as a bill in your mailbox. So again, could be a combination of bills to $257, or let's say your first bill was an MRI. Well, you'll pay $257 for that. So the answer is yes. You got to meet your deductible on both of those plans. And then after that, if you have a G plan, then you're going to be 100% covered. On the N plan, the deductible is met, and now when you go to a doctor, you could have a $20 copay. So that'd be the difference. Okay. Alrighty, does the supplemental plan cover you internationally? Yes, they do, but to a limit. There's 10 supplemental plans right now. Not all do, but all that we would write, especially the FG and N, are going to cover you for up to $50,000 for travel health insurance. Travel emergency claims. So the way that works is a $50,000 benefit added to the policy, but it's lifetime. It's lifetime. So I had a lady that got really sick on vacation in Ireland a few years back, $172,000 claim in Ireland. Well, Medicare paid nothing because Medicare doesn't cover you anywhere but the 50 states and the U.S. territories. That's it. So she has a $172,000 bill. So she was on a plan that had the travel emergency benefit. It paid $50,000. Now, for those claims, the way it works is this: we take the claim. You as the insured are responsible for a deductible, $250, small. And then they take the balance of that claim, and the insurance company pays 80%, you pay 20%. But the insurance company's 80% runs out after they have spent on you $50,000. All right, so that $172,000 claim, she spent her $50,000, and that's it. It's a lifetime benefit. I had a lady fall in Australia, and she had a $9,000 claim. That's it, $9,000, not much. $250 deductible. They took the balance, $8,750. Insurance company paid 80%. She paid 20%, but she still has money in her travel emergency benefit. All right, so that's the way it works. Now, listen, folks, what I would do, especially if you're on an Advantage plan, but even on a supplemental plan, buy travel health insurance. It's very, very reasonable. My wife and I and mom and sis we're getting ready to go on our first river cruise. Never been on one. Looking forward to doing that. We're going to go down the Danube, and I bought travel health insurance for all of us. My wife, myself, my mom is 84, and so her policy, I think it cost me $79. It was very reasonable, and we're going to be gone a couple weeks. And so I would get travel health insurance. And by the way, that plan I got had a $500,000 air evacuation rider, which is good. So if something were to happen, they'll pay up to $500,000 for that. And for those of you that want to know a company I use, because we don't sell this at all, but I'll give you the name real quickly of a company that I use that really I'm happy with. They're brokers. They'll shop it. I've used them before when I went to Israel, different places. And so it's called Travel Insurance Center, and that number is 866-979-6753. 866-979-6753. My experience with them has always been very good. Get some. Again, it's very, very affordable. I think my policy, I'm 64, and I think my policy was like, $34. My wife's 62, hers was like $30. So very, very reasonable. $100,000 worth of health insurance claim, and then $500,000 air evacuation. All right, so that's the way it works. But yes, supplemental plans do it, but it's limited. Advantage plans, no. Advantage plans, the only thing you have is urgent care visit, emergency room visit, zero copay, but beyond that, nothing. Okay, nothing. So not very good. Okay, any more, Daniel? All right, I'm doing preliminary research on comparing plans in Florida. One Blue Cross plan says $10,100 in and out of network, $5,100 in network. What does that mean? What that means is it's called a combined max out of pocket. So if you only saw in network doctors, the max out of pocket is $5,100. But if you went out, then there would be an additional $5,000 that they could charge you for an out-of-network provider. So we call that a combined max out of pocket. Okay? Hope that makes sense. Those are Advantage plans, by the way, because the supplemental plan would never have that. Okay. Any more, Daniel? All right. If I'm prescribed an expensive injection, can I have that injection sent to my doctor's office and given them to me by the doctor? And that would be under Medicare B. Well, Gary, I have seen that. Okay. Now, you can't do that just because you want to do that. And so what I would do is I would talk to whoever you're going to get that injection from and ask them, is this normally covered by Part D, or could this be covered by Part B if it's professionally injected? They will know. And if you want to know what I do on these kind of things, folks, ChatGPT it. And I know they're not always 100% accurate, but it's pretty accurate. Or, Google it and just find out, is this medication, whatever it is you're on, Gary, is this covered by B or D? And look at a couple articles, see what they have to say, and you'll probably get a pretty good answer on that. Okay, but the pharmacy that's providing this, they want to get paid. So I guarantee you they'll know whether it's covered by D or B. And if you have the option, either way, which is pretty uncommon, but if you do have the option to have it covered by B, I'd be all over that. Yeah, let them send it off and get it at a doc's office. That's a good way to go. All right, anybody else? Okay, Daniel. Okay, hang on, folks. I think we've got another one coming here. Some of the questions get kind of repeated, so he tries to skip over some just because we felt like we just covered it. Here we go. If someone's 65 and still working, started Part A, when does the 6-month window go to get no underwriting for Part B start? That's a great question. It starts when you start Part B. Okay, so if I start B at 65, the window opens. So let's do it this way, folks. I turn 65 in January. I'll be 65. I'm going on Medicare. And so my 6-month window starts in January. So it's going to be all of January, February, March, April, May, June. So from January 1 all the way to June 30th, I can apply for a MedSup plan. Couldn't get an F, of course, because I'm not old enough, but I can get a G or an N or whatever, and I don't have to go through any underwriting. But let's suppose that I didn't go on Medicare, that I keep working. By the way, I'm going to go on Medicare. Medicare is a better value than our group plan. So I'm going on Medicare. But let's say that I didn't, that I was going to keep the group plan. And I don't have an HSA, and so I decided that I wanted to enroll in A only. Okay, but I didn't take B, and I worked for 3 more years. And then I start B. Then that's when the 6-month window begins. So my point is, that 6-month window is tied to your B date. And that's why I said earlier, if you're on Social Security and you're automatically enrolled into Medicare, but you have a good group plan, don't stay in B. If there's 20 or more, send the card back in, have A only, so that you can pick up your B at a later date, and then we have that 6-month window. All right? So it's tied to the B date, not the A date. The only thing A date affects you all is if you're contributing to an HSA. If you have an HSA, don't do A. If you don't have an HSA, enroll in A only. It's fine. Okay? Okay, Daniel. Anybody else? You said Irma looks back 2 years. Please clarify. So does that mean that my income should have been 106 in 2023? Exactly right. So that's the threshold for 2023. So if we're below 106, we have no Irmas. So what does that mean? 2026, as we roll into Medicare, they're going to be looking back at 2024. Income we make this year is going to matter in 2027. Now, here's what happens. They automatically, folks, look back 2 years, always. But if you have one of the life-changing events that occurs, and let me just give them to you real quickly, death, divorce, marriage, work stoppage, work reduction. That's the top 5. Okay, death, divorce, marriage, work stoppage, work reduction. Work stoppage, totally retired, work reduction, you're semi-retired. Okay, those are 5 of the 8. The other 3 are loss of income producing property, which means you had a property, 4plex, 8plex, whatever, and it was producing income and it burned up, or it was destroyed in a flood or a fire, or went down a mudslide. You don't have it any longer. You had it in 2023. You don't have it today. Then that's an appealable offense. You have to have insurance records to prove that you lost the property, or loss of pension income, or loss of an employer settlement agreement, which typically means you're no longer getting that because they went bankrupt or it's paid out. Then if you have one of these life-changing events, you can appeal the IRMA. You can say, you're looking back at 2023, but I've had one of these life-changing events, one of the 8, and it happened within the last 2 years. then you can give them new numbers. So if I had a retired this year, 2025, and they're looking at 2023, I could tell them, hey, I retired in 2024, or I retired in 2025, and that affected my income. I'm not making what I did back then. You put your new numbers in, and you're appealing the IRMA, and you will win that. And you can either eliminate the IRMA or maybe reduce the IRMA. Sometimes people can't eliminate, their income still stays high, but maybe not as high as it was before the life-changing event, all right? And so if you're our client, we'll walk you through all this and help you, okay? Glad to do that. So I hope that was helpful. All right, I'll be contacting MedicareSchool.com. I turn 65 in January. We'll need a Medigap plan plus D. I've watched several of your videos, and I think I know just enough to have a convo about vets. Very good. Well, PJ, we would love to hear from you, and I promise you, we will do our very best to take care of you, okay? We will. Let's keep going. And by the way, I'm glad we met you through video too. It's great. What about using health sharing company with Medicare? All right, so a couple things. I'm very familiar with them because I'm on one. I actually used to be a pastor 20 years, and the church that I pastored put me on one called Samaritan Ministries, very similar to Medishare and those kind of things. And so they have worked for my family. I have 7 children, and we've had a few claims while we've been on this plan. Anyways, my point is I know about them. I am not going to stay on mine. And a couple reasons. Number one, I like the philosophy of it. I think, brethren sharing and all that is wonderful. But the reason I'm not going to stay on mine is because I don't want to miss my opportunity of a Medigap open enrollment, that 6 months of the B date, because you would. Secondly, I don't know about your plan, but mine has, in the last several years, has almost doubled in premium. I think that Medicare supplemental plans are going to be more stable. I align with the philosophy. I understand all that, but I'm not going to do it. And so you could if you want. So you're asking me, what do I think about that? I think there's some risk involved with that because, again, 6 months to B date. Now you got to qualify to get a MedSup plan. And I think the stability of some of those plans are probably not going to be as good as what a MedSup would be. Okay, so that's my 2 cents on it. But hey, if you decide differently, I'm not going to fault you for that. For sure, it certainly has worked for us for a long, long time. Okay, let's keep going. What is physical therapy covered under? Okay, yeah, physical therapy would be covered under Part B of Medicare. Now, the only exception to that would be home health care physical therapy after a hospital stay. So what happens if someone's in the hospital, Part A covers that bill. And then if you go home after a hospital stay, then A covers the home health care follow-up and physical therapy. But if it's after an outpatient situation, let's say a knee replacement, or something else has happened outpatient, then B is going to cover that. Okay, so it's one of the few services that A and B will both cover depending upon where that service began. So if it began inpatient, physical therapy is covered by A at home. If it's covered, having a B situation, outpatient, then that would be covered under the B side of Medicare. All right, next. Okay, thanks for watching. Okay, well, folks, hey, we appreciate it. Tune in next Thursday, same time. We'd love to have you be a part of that. And reach out to us. We'd love to be your broker. If there's any way we can help you, we'll do a good job for you. And we'll be honest with you. And we'll stay with you as well. We service our clients. You don't have to be sent overseas to get help. So it's one of the neat things about using us as a company. So let us know if we can help. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great evening. See ya.